So yeah, well, it's kind of a long story, but the gist of it goes like this. We had filled out an application to join a year before we actually got to join. But that person, I can't remember what his name was. He did some stuff and I think he ran off. Maybe it was, I don't know, something for a year before I even heard back from anybody. And then once we finally heard, the original three people that we were going to start with was myself, Josh Carpenter, and another cat named Travis. And Josh unfortunately had to sell his car for some reasons, and so he didn't have a car anymore. So we needed another person to start with the three chapter heads. So I reached out to Nick. So that's how we got the club started, with three members, three chapter heads, however you want to look at it. And Josh was able to find another car and get back on board. And then Travis, he had a baby, and he wasn't able to really be as active as he wanted to be, so he decided to step down from that chapter head position. And since Josh was one of the, he actually introduced me to Cadillacs in the first place, we asked him to come back on, and since he was going to be one of the starting three, we just asked him to come back in as that position. So the thing, like with you, when I replied to your email, was basically just because it said president interview. And even though on paper, the three of us, it says chapter heads, Nick and I had a conversation a while back about, if we needed to change anything and why. So there would be, a definitive line where chapter, the president has the final say, whatever. So, he has a business and he wants to start building cars. So I don't have any problem with titles. First of all, let's get that out of the way, So it wasn't a problem for me at all. I mean, I kind of helped start the chapter. I put in the legwork at the beginning. But, as far as president, vice president, I feel like we're a family. We try to work together, talk about things openly, if we need to take care of anything, we try to do it, the best that we can, the three of us. So that's how all that kind of happened. And my name is Dustin Greeley. I am the vice president for the Queen City chapter out of Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll be coming up on our 2-year anniversary from being voted in as a full-fledged member in September, the 19th, I believe. So to me, my chapter is like an extended version of my family that without these cars, I never would have probably met most all these people. I've known Josh since I was a kid. We grew up together, so I've known him my whole life. Nick is actually my neighbor. He lives less than a mile down the street from me. And then all the other new people that have come along in the past, year and some change. It's crazy, man. Honestly, it's like a big family. We would have skate nights, go roller skating, skate parks, do stuff that isn't necessarily car oriented. But we all get together, have barbecues, pool parties, things like that, just to hang out. So, it's important for me. I've always loved cars, and when I was younger, always wanted a lowrider, and now that I'm a grown up, I guess, and I can afford to have a little bit of extra money to have a few nice cars in my garage. I've always wanted to be in a club. I've always loved lowriders. I've always wanted a plaque, and I don't know. I grew up, I'm from I was born in 1980, so I'm 41 years old. Like when I was a teenager, it was Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, gin and juice rolling in my 6'4", I had an Impala. I actually sold it to Nick. So the people, my club, they mean a lot to me, We try to, if somebody's in need, we need to pull together and do something for them. If somebody breaks down, we need to go get them. If somebody wants to go get a car, we got several members that have trucks and trailers. Let's go get a car. Let's do it together. Let's do fun stuff. Let's hang out. The club as a whole, I think, to build the community that they've built over the last 15 plus years, and to have people that have reached out to me personally when we first joined just to introduce themselves, like Ryan from Canada, awesome guy. We give him a little shout out right here with my nice little Cadillac Kings Duncan sticker. What's up, homie? Talked to several other members from other chapters, and the community, to be able to reach out to somebody on Facebook and ask a question that somebody's had maybe the same issue with their car or whatever, and to get a response, or to have somebody ship you a part that might be next to impossible to find because they have it, that's great. That's an awesome thing. So, it's the community. It's being, having that community to, to rely on, to get together. Super pumped for the barbecue. Hopefully it'll happen this next year. And that way get to put a lot of actual faces with names and videos that you see online and stuff. So hopefully that answers that question, or a two-parter. When I started out, it was Impalas. I grew up, like I said, in that era of, like I said, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, hydraulics. The Impala that I bought was when I was 20 years old. That was the first big thing I bought for myself. And I had it up until about 5 or 6 years ago, and just never could afford to do anything with it. For some reason, Impala Super Sport, when people see you coming, it's like, get ready. It's about to go down. So I got turned on to Cadillacs through our other club member, Josh. He had a black 68 four-door hardtop. It was nice, flat black, fat white walls, chrome reverse smoothies. It was on bags. I was like, dude, that is sick. I said, I'm going to sell my Impala and try to find me a Cadillac, we can cruise together. He was like, dude, that would be awesome. So we started looking, and I actually found the first car that I bought, which was my 69. So I haven't always been into Cadillacs, but I think I've always been into older classic cars, and always like lowrider style. I mean, I can't tell you how many people around here, when I first had that Impala, and I told people, what my ultimate goal for it to be was, and a lot of these old timers around here were like, boy, you're gonna ruin that car. Oh, okay, like, good. That's the way I want it. I want it low and dragging the ground. Like, I love that. Front sticking up, ass hanging down. That's great. One thing that kind of sticks out to me was we had actually went to a show earlier this year in Albemarle, which is it's a town. It's maybe 45 minutes, an hour away from us, and we took 10 cars. We got club participation trophy for that, so that was pretty awesome. I think to have everybody there and to have 10 Cadillacs lined up in a row, at least out here, that was awesome. You know what? Even better than that one, honestly, man. The photo shoot that we just did this past weekend, or 2 weeks ago, where we got some video shot for the documentary, and we had some photographers that we've used before. We had 15 cars come. So I've never in my life seen 15 Cadillacs that were classics ever at one time. So, and that was in a place by itself without any other cars there. It's cool to see 10 cars with 200 other cars. But, you know, and that's a big thing I think for us out here on the East Coast is just because, like in California, there's a chapter in every town. You know what I mean? And I know California is a lot more spread out, but like the equivalent to that here would be there's a chapter in Monroe, there's a chapter in Waxhaw, you know, uh, the Charlotte in downtown Charlotte, Lake Norman. You know what I mean? So like that would be awesome to get to that point out this way, and have, a big giant group of cars. That's killer to me to see all the people get together and smiling, especially when we had that photo shoot. I think everybody but maybe Josh, David, I think those might have been the only people that hadn't seen that many Cadillacs in one place at one time. So to see all those people and the smiles on their faces when they saw all these cars, and these photographers are kind of running around taking pictures, shooting videos and stuff, like that was cool. That was awesome. Again, we're not as spread out as California is, right? As far as distance wise. Now, I'll say this, our chapter as a whole right now, we have people that they're they're spread out a little bit in the area. It's not like, I can get to Josh's house in 15 minutes. I can get to JR's house in about 25, 30 minutes. Nick's house is a mile down the street, less than two. But we have some people that are like out in Albemarle, that's, 45 minutes, an hour away. We got some other guys that are down like near Gastonia, they travel up to see us. So, yeah, I think it's not even, planting seed chapters or whatever you want to call it, as far as in our state. If it gets to be that big to where that's a possibility, that would be awesome. But I think having other chapters, South Carolina, neighboring states, Tennessee, Virginia, you know what I mean? Like there's, people reach out to us on social media that are from right around, neighboring us, and, ask the question. And, we try to tell them, like, you got, 2 or 3 other friends with Cadillacs pre-76, like hit up Eric out in California, you get the ball rolling. So, if you can have a positive influence on people like that to, see what's going on with these Cadillac Kings to grow like it has, to be a part of that, heck yeah, man. It'd be awesome. See, I know a lot of people are going to be like, I want a 59. And don't get me wrong, it's the holy grail. But I love a 60 uh, coupe or hardtop. Nick has a hardtop and I love it. I have a 61, not a hardtop, a flat top, I'm sorry. A 60 flat top. Chris McComber, he's got one up in Jersey. Bull, that thing's bad, man. That would probably be my dream Cadillac, would be like a 60 coupe or a flat top. Yeah, I'm close, man. I was going backwards. I started with a 69, 4-door hardtop, went to I have a 68 Calais also, and then just got a 61 flat top. So I'm getting closer to that goal one, but at this point now, my wife tells me I don't have any more space in my garage, so I can't have another car. So I have to build another garage. My dad had Cadillacs when I was growing up. He wasn't in my life very much. He went back and forth from Pittsburgh to Florida. His family, he was from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but he lived in Florida. And so he would stop in, once or twice a year and see me when I was younger. And we'd hang out and stuff a little bit. But he always drove Cadillacs. So that was probably my first memory of Cadillacs, was probably seeing my dad drive up with his short, roundish, froish hair. you know, bobbing and bumping some music. That would have been like in, I'd say, late 80s, you know, them big old boxy looking Cadillacs. No, 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 absolutely not. That is an atrocity. Oh, I could, no. Yeah, man, no, there's, I actually heard this from Skylar the other day. He posted a little clip of that. You might have posted it. That was
Yeah.
hilarious. No,
Yeah.
hell no. Oh, because my Cadillac isn't a pure original Cadillac. And to me, I feel like the purest people are like, I want to see the original bypass tires, and I want to see all the little marks that they make under the hood, and not perfect paint, overspray here and there, and like all that. I'm not a purist, I don't think at all. I appreciate all cars for, you know, that person's vision, you know, like I'm not going to listen to anybody else tell me what to do with my cars. And I can appreciate anybody else's whatever their vision is for their car, you know. It might not be my taste or my style, and that's totally fine, you know, because that's, we're different, you know, we have different thoughts, and I'm okay with that, you know. I wouldn't consider myself a purist at all, you know. I love all cars. I prefer classic cars and older cars. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, I see the post on social media, like if you could take this, you know, $1 million car or this what old classic, which one would you take? Like, I'm gonna take that exotic car and sell it and go get about 15 classics. Thanks. And I, you know, I've never I've never been in an electric car. You know, I've seen videos and heard that they can be crazy fast. And I've seen the video proof that shows that they're crazy fast. To me, it's not about the speed or, I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Like Skylar's cars and the stuff that he does and builds is like mind blowing. It's like artwork to me, seeing some of the pictures that he posts, like it's incredible. Um, you know, my cars are all basically stock aside from, you know, like my 68 is probably the most work I've had done to a car. I had the motor, transmission, everything rebuilt, um, all new everything for the motor, radiator, gas tank, fuel lines, brakes. You know, I didn't tear the car completely apart piece by piece. Didn't paint it or anything like that. The paint was fine on it. Didn't really see messing with that. You know, so uh, that's just me though. You know, I don't. I wish I had that talent. Honestly, that's what I'll say. I'm jealous of his talent to be able to pull all that stuff apart and put it back together and make it look the way that it does. Like I said, some of it looks like artwork. Like, bravo, sir. Everything shut down right after my birthday here in 2020. I was put out of work for 12 weeks almost, right at 12 weeks. I'm a hairstylist. I own my own salon. And that was definitely hard for me. Um, we pretty much stayed on lockdown as far as for me and my family. Wife just went to the grocery store like when we needed something. Um, uh, it was for the chapter and everybody getting together. I think because every single thing that we could have done was canceled, we didn't get to really keep in touch or see each other at all, you know, for I'd say probably 3 to 4 months. Um, but and then once we hit, because we were still not even a year old at that point, you know, we hit that year mark in September. So we really started pushing then to try to, and everything kind of started to ease up around here. So that's when we really started getting to be a little bit more active in um, going to little cruise-ins or just meeting up ourselves. Um, we made it a little event in December and had 22 Cadillacs show up, but it wasn't just for old Cadillacs. It was anybody with a Cadillac that was interested in just meeting other people with Cadillacs. So we had new ones, 80s models, 90s models on hydraulics. Uh, it was pretty cool to see all these people in a parking deck. Um, but really, everybody was on lockdown here, so we couldn't really do that much with each other or for each other besides, stay in contact through social media or phone calls or stuff like that. And honestly, even at that point, our chapter was still fairly small as far as numbers. Um, so, I think I saw Nick, we hung out with him a little bit and his girls, my kids. We definitely did some exploring and some hiking with our other neighbors across the street. Um, I'll say, as bad as last year was, and with everything being shut down, I will say this on a positive note. I got to spend a lot of time with my kids, and that's you can't put a value on that. You don't realize it when you go to work every day, and you get lost in that hustle of work. Come home, eat, play for a little bit, go to sleep, wake up, redo it. But getting to spend those weeks with my kids, they helped me box out the trunk in my 69, panel it all in nice and smooth. My son and my daughter, I had them out there cutting wood, putting carpet on, sizing, measuring. So that was that was great, even though as bad as everything was going on around us, it sucked. But that was a definite positive note to that dreadful time. Nick, I think Nick got it. Other than that, nobody that I'm aware of. I don't. I mean, I don't think you know. I don't think there was anything flying around or I didn't know this person was like that or whatever. Um, I mean, for me, the only the only issue where I feel like that we in our chapter has run up on is the issue with the logo and making shirts, things like that. Um, that's really the only thing that we've run into an issue with where I would be like, okay, I just need a little bit more clarity so I'll know moving forward. I have no problem with, use the logo for this or not that. It's fine. Just tell me so I can start doing that. But it, to me, it's not very clear um, as to what can and can't be used for members only versus support for other people. And I know that's been a topic that just got started with a vote. That might be why that's ringing into my mind right now. I mean, like when we all first started getting back together, and this is for our chapter, you know, I think I think everybody when we first got together the first couple times, I feel like everybody was kind of spaced out. You know what I mean? Like everybody, we'd all get together and everybody be out there, because like almost everybody's just staying right at their car, hanging out a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you hang out over there, I'm gonna hang out over here. But as far as anybody bickering back and forth, as far as should we be wearing masks or not wearing masks or anything like that, to me, it, it's not my place to tell anybody what I think they should or shouldn't do, and I'm not going to impose what I feel on anybody else. And I would ask the same in you know just out of respect. Being in the industry that I'm in, being a hairstylist, um, if I have somebody that comes in that you know is nervous or anything like that, and they ask or request that I wear a mask for their service, and I'm more than happy to oblige them with that because that's my job. You know, I personally don't want to have to wear a mask, but if somebody would like for me to wear one, then I have no problem wearing one. The same thing with our club members. If you want to come and wear a mask or socially distance, I'm absolutely cool with you doing that. I'm glad that you feel comfortable enough to come out and hang out with us, but that didn't come into play for us really, I don't think at all. As far as like having a conversation about it. I think we stayed out of it. When we got together to hang out, it wasn't to talk about that. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, hey, did you see on the news what happened with whatever? You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure, you know, um, that's not the reason that we were getting together, to hang out. We were getting together to, hang out and talk about cars and, have fellowship with each other, you know?
And get your mind off of things.
For sure. Absolutely. I
And
mean, it's bad enough when you turn the TV on these days, man. Like it's scary, you know? Um, I don't even like watching the news. I would rather, you know, uh, I don't know. I feel like some of that stuff is more entertainment than news, And I mean, to me, I feel like the club in a whole is, you know, I mean, heck, you say a beginning, a middle, and an ending. The club as a whole is coming up on 15 years, I believe, 15 or 16. If you look at it from our life perspective, that's still fairly young. I wouldn't even quite say to the middle yet. I'd still say in the early stages of growth. I mean, when we first joined almost 2 years ago, to my understanding, the club as a whole only allowed one new chapter to join a year, which, I'm sure has its pros and cons. But since we've joined, I think they have made an addendum to those, rules to where, they'll allow a few more chapters a year to join. I think the club has grown a good bit in these past 18 months, like what you were saying. And I'm sure there's going to be, some good and some bad, just like with anything that grows quickly like that. Um, but I think the end result still is what the club was started for, was to get people together, you know. I mean, to do community things, service, try to give back, you know. I think those things are important. If you can help out in the community that you're in, or the neighboring communities, or you know anything with kids, stuff like that is a great thing. And if you can make two things happen at one time, have a toy run for kids for Christmas time or something. That's what we're going to try to plan to do this year. Raise some money doing selling shirts or whatever, to try to give like to a battered women's shelter. Like that would be awesome. And to me, that was, one of the things that stuck out to me, I think, when I first read over, the Cadillac Kings and, what a lot of the chapters did out on the West Coast as far as how they would donate money back. And, I think that's a great thing to get behind. So, I still think we're growing and still think we're in the young process of growing. Honestly, I mean, 15 years seems that's a long time, but I would like to think that my kids are going to be Cadillac Kings when they grow up. They got 3 cars outside that they're going to have to keep, working and operating. So I hope we're just starting for the next generation of, young people to come up behind us and take the reins and, keep it moving, man. It would be nice to have the largest Cadillac club in the world. That's one of the things that we were really trying to focus on for this year. I think in our first year, because of being shut down, I think we were really hindered as far as proactive like that to give back into our community, because we really weren't able to get out and do anything with anybody. I think moving forward, um, things like I was saying earlier, try to do toy runs, cruise ins. We had actually had another member that was in the works of trying to do like was at an old school bowling alley, to have a cruise in at an old bowling alley, but not just cruise in, actually, let's go in and help this business out, have a bunch of old cars come, you know, uh, go in, play some, bowl some, hit some lanes. And then, I think to me, that's a good way to give back to the community, help these small business owners who have taken a huge beating over the past 18 months with not being able to work or not having employees that want to work, So any other little organization that we could try to give money to, or, through support, selling support shirts, what have you. One thing for me that helped out, when I was younger was the battered women's shelter. So that would be one that I would like to bring to the table to, whether we go there and prepare a meal and serve it to the people, or get Christmas presents for the kids who are there with their moms, things like that are what I would like to personally push for our chapter to work towards. I don't feel I should tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. I don't feel I have the say for any other chapter in this club what they should or shouldn't do. As far as if they want to fundraise, by all means fundraise. If you don't want to, that's cool too. You know what I mean? So when I first heard about the club, that was one of the things that rung a bell in my head. These guys do this, they try to give back to their communities. And I think if it were made a rule, I feel like it would have too much people, well, what exactly do we have to do? I think people take it differently when you tell them you have to do this once a year or whatever. Most people will just increase my dues and I'll just pay more dues so you can do whatever with the money that's extra, you know? So I would say for me personally, I think it would be better to keep it like it is, just because I feel like, I don't know, I think you would just be a little bit more backlash from people saying, well, because why, or what should we do exactly? Or, I think there would be a lot of questions and stuff like that. I think it'll just be easier to, if your chapter wants to fundraise, fundraise. If you don't, don't. I think if you were to put a cap on it, the the club's grown a lot in the past year. From the emails that I've gotten as far as new chapters that have even come in, obviously behind us, because I wasn't in the emails before we were a chapter. So there's been a lot of growth, but I think if you were to put a cap on it, man, honestly, there would be some people in maybe, I want to say, more remote parts of the country or whatever that might just be catching up to the Cadillac Kings, and they might have a small group of friends that want to cruise cars together and have that community. I feel like you might be shutting the door on people that you would never meet otherwise, and like I said in the beginning, that was a big thing for me. All the members that we have in our chapter now, 14, yeah, 14 or 15 with 4 prospecting, you know, um, that's a lot of growth in a short amount of time, even just for us. But I don't know. I don't think you should put a cap on it. I think the way that it's grown now and has been, and with everybody communicating via social media and things like that, it's a lot easier than maybe it was 15 years ago. And there's a good possibility that you might not ever get to meet some of these people face to face, right? Some people might not get to make it to the all chapter barbecue. Um, some people might, and in 5 years, if there was 50 or 60 chapters, I would be just as proud of that as I am of saying we're at 38 and hopefully to get to 40 by the end of the year. I feel like it's not an exclusive club. It's not like, okay, I mean, it kind of is when you're saying we only take Cadillacs from this year back or whatever. I mean, yeah, but let's be honest, they really stopped making real Cadillacs after the 70s and stuff anyway. All this front wheel drive and stuff like that, whatever. But I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to be left out on how awesome the people that are here are, and not just here, but in Canada. Ryan is awesome. Had a few conversations with Tim Johnson out in Vegas, Chad Solis. There's definitely the guys in Jersey, the guys in Brooklyn, Florida. Like I've had personal interactions with all these different people, the guys over in Finland. Like when you can reach out to those people just to say what's up, and you know, I don't know. I feel like that's an awesome thing, and I wouldn't want anybody to not have that opportunity to feel like they were included, to be in a group of people that have that same common interest to pull you all together and have almost unending knowledge that you could draw from different places. Somebody's definitely ran into this problem before. Maybe somebody can help me out with it. I think that's a great thing that I don't feel like anybody who wants to be a part of should not get the opportunity to do, I guess. Yeah, I mean, my wife and my kids are very supportive. Now, my wife will bust my balls, from time to time if I'm out late messing around with cars and stuff like that. But she understands more than not, and she's at most all the events that I go to, as well as my kids. Um, very supportive. And I think she does understand that it is like a part-time job to, trying to corral, 14 or 15 people to meet, and, let's all cruise in together. Like even just going to a local cruise in show can be kind of a stressful ordeal, because trying to get 15 people all on the same page. We're going to meet here at 2:30. Okay, well, we'll be there at probably like 2:15. Oh, I'm running 15 minutes late. You got kids running around saying, "What's taking so long?" And our chapter, we do have a good bit of kids that are in the chapter with with families and stuff like that. So I think everybody's really understanding. Our chapter in particular has, I feel, a lot of support from, their, significant other, wives, and their kids. My kids, I know I can speak for sure. If they have the option to ride in the Cadillac, they want to go in the Cadillac. They want to go to school in the Cadillac. They don't want to go in the Volkswagen. They want to go in the Cadillac. Um, like I said, man, I wouldn't know half of these people without the cars bringing us together. And even though that's something very not meaningful, having just the cars, but you start to hang out with these people on more of a personal level, and you get to know them aside from the car. And I think it's great to have an extra group of people that you can reach out to in a time of need, if you need something, or a time of joy. You know, you just add to your chain link fence a little bit. So I think that's a great thing. And some of my friends from the car club are now friends with, some of my other friends that don't have cars. Well, now those friends want to try to find a car so they can join the club. So I think it's a way to bring people together and, grow in that manner, almost like a family. Yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, man, and good luck to you as well.